So you check in and you're like, wow, I was like doing all my automated habitual things. Because guess what, my friends, you are in the habit of being you. And so it's going to take practice to get into a new habit of showing up differently. And beating yourself up, that's not going to change anything. As a matter of fact, that's going to keep you stuck in there. So recognizing it and then saying from now on, in the future, next time I'm going to think or say this, or from now on, I'm going to do this.
Joining me today is Mindi Huebner. She is the go-to subconscious success alchemist for high-achieving women when success feels heavy. She's a clinical hypnotherapist, certified NLP practitioner, and the creator of the 24-Karat Identity Framework, a rapid identity alignment process that helps women close the gap between who they are and who they are becoming. Through her work, Mindi guides clients to shed conditioning, release the pressure to prove, and step into self-trust so they can lead authentically and create sustainable success. With over 225 podcast appearances, summits, and stages, to her credit, she's known for blending neuroscience, intuition, and subconscious reprogram to unlock potential growth. Today is all about unlocking the real lever for success that most entrepreneurs overlook: identity. We're talking about how who you believe you are determines what you do, how you show up, and ultimately how you monetize. So stay tuned. Welcome to the show, Mindi.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with you today.
I know. Well, I think this is like the third, fourth time you've been on the podcast? I can't even remember.
I think maybe the third. Yeah.
I'm so excited because we've known each other for what, like 4-ish years right now, I think, maybe-ish. And you are my mindset coach, my Tuesday morning check-in. I love it. This morning, because today happens to be a Tuesday. I'm like, man, I know this is your job. And some of this I have now keep coming back to and repeating. And I just feel sorry for you sometimes.
You're so funny.
It's true. And that's why I'm so glad that you had this topic today, because I really do think that we end up circling back to the identity that we've created for ourselves. And we talked about this like identity thing. And it's funny because when you brought this to my attention, I start becoming more aware, not only of myself, but in other people. And then I'm like, why does somebody behave like that? And I'm like, they either gave themselves the identity or took, the identity somebody gave them. So it's very interesting. So I can't wait to dive in. But before we do, for anyone who hasn't met you yet, can you tell us a little bit about you and what led you to this work?
Yes. I'm Mindi Huebner. I'm a subconscious success alchemist, the go-to subconscious success alchemist for high-achieving women founders and CEOs who are ready to shed the conditioning that keeps them under the pressure to prove and perform and overthink and overwork because they're equating it with their value, so that they can shift into showing up in their authentic power, leading from self-trust. And we do that through rewiring their identity at the subconscious level.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And it is like constant work. Please tell me that yes, it is. Don't feel
no, it totally is. You asked what got me into it, and I'll answer that. Is it constant work? So your awareness level, as you know, is extremely heightened when you begin doing this work. And that's the beauty of it. So first we have to be aware of what's happening subconsciously so that it comes into the conscious. And then once we're aware, we can take ownership of what's happening and then get into alignment, because the misalignment, the identity gap, is the difference between the conscious and the subconscious. Like, that's what's happening. We're subconsciously being this version of a CEO or this version of a founder, right? Like the overthinking or the over delivering or whatever that looks like. Yeah. The strategic one who's always planning and putting things in place, right? All of the things. And we all have been one of those identities us. So sometimes we're this beautiful unicorn mix of those things too. And so it's awareness first. Once we become aware, we can take ownership, not with shame or blame or guilt, just like, oh, isn't that interesting that I'm behaving this way, that I'm doing this? And then we get to get into alignment. Okay, well, who do I want to be?
Mhm.
What would I like to create in my life instead? And as you know from our work, like we unpack underneath that, what meaning have I given to it? What kind of subconscious safety is this creating to stay in the known? And the way I got into the work, honestly, was I have always been, and I'm sure you can attest to this. I'm the person that people tell their deepest, darkest secrets to.
I don't know what you're
Always.
talking about.
Yeah, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And I have taught, coached, mentored my entire adult life. Like this has been my life's work is championing women, holding that space for them to believe for them while their belief catches up. I think that I know that that is part of my purpose to really, again, champion women because we don't have enough people championing us.
It's so true. So true. And I think what's beautiful about you is that, like, when I get into my head, like, oh my gosh, here I go again, right? Or I notice patterns come up. It may not be with the same exact thing I was festering on, if you will. However, it's still the pattern. And I'm okay, now I'm doing it with this. And it's always just bringing back to, like, okay, I'm not necessarily going to have to do this forever and ever, or the time that I am stuck in this pattern or identity, I get out of it faster. And I think that is what it is. And you create such a beautiful space for us to, or for me, I'm just talking for myself, like to say, okay, yeah, like I'm not going to beat myself up about it anymore because, I am human. Feelings come up, things come up. And it's just like, okay, how can you move through what doesn't serve you faster?
Exactly, exactly. Well, honoring, because it's you just brought up a great thing. Our work, my work with women is never about spiritual bypassing, pretending emotions don't exist. Well and
Right.
good. Like your emotions are indicators, they are valid. Feel your feelings. Feel them for as long as you need to feel them as and then say, "Okay, am I like have I felt them and now I want to move on or do I need more time to process?" Like that is vital because we are human
Mhm.
and pretending that our emotions aren't affecting us, right? Pushing them down, well they only come up louder.
Right.
Pretending that they're not there.
I love it. So, what was the moment on your journey when you realized that strategy alone wasn't enough? That, like, the identity piece was missing?
Yeah. I didn't know that it was I didn't know that it was called identity in that moment. I was in sales for years and years. My division closed. Like after 17 years, my division closed. I got the email that said, that's it. All those years of late nights and leadership and just everything like pouring into it. And I wasn't that mad. And that was the first indicator of, oh, what I know now is that I had believed that rest was lazy. So I was in the identity of a hustler all the time. And I do believe in aligned hustle. There are times when we apply ourselves and we do a sprint and we can't hustle marathons, right? Like that's not or you can and then you feel like I felt at the end of that 17 years and I was completely burnt out and I had this moment of okay, it's time to create something new, right? Like the doors are closed here, so this is an opportunity,
Mhm.
and it gets to be really different because I still get to make a lot of money and serve a lot of people, and not think that rest is lazy and feel guilty when I sit on the couch for an hour, burn the candle at both ends all the time. Rewiring that belief was the beginning of the work and the beginning of the dive into our how our brain works, neuroplasticity, neuroscience, NLP, subconscious, conscious, like habits, just all the things that make us us. I know now as well, and this is work that we do too, that's not a silo. Identity work and mindset work are not a silo either. Nervous system regulation is really important in there too, because that is what's happening at the same time. The subconscious is going danger, danger. We don't know what this is like, right? It's unfamiliar. And then your body, your nervous system is doing the things that it does to tell you, like, we don't like this. Like, it cues whatever it cues in us. And so being able to regulate our nervous system is a really vital piece of doing that identity work as
Yeah.
well.
And it's funny because that regulating your nervous system, it's like a buzzword, right? Or buzz phrase, I guess,
Mm,
nowadays.
mhm, mhm.
So I'm assuming that has always been like a thing. We just never been talking about it. Regulate.
Not as much as we do now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, somatic practitioners, the people who have always done the work, they've known,
Mhm.
right, forever that your body is telling you things all the time, and it also so now we hear words all the time like fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Well, our body's been doing that forever.
Yeah.
And this is where stress comes from. This is why we stay in the known, because when we start to stretch our familiar, stretch our known zone, our body again signals danger. It doesn't know the difference. Your system, your it's escaping me right now, but your system does not know the difference between the stress of being late for work or having a deadline and the stress of being chased by a bear. Like, it's the same. It comes through the same filter. And so, this is where we get to then lean into, okay, I'm safe, right? Air quotes, right? I'm safe. There's not a bear chasing me or anything like that. This is a self-imposed deadline.
Right.
Right.
Right. It's funny that you say that because this is going to sound so silly. So, when I got my award last week, I was sitting, I was so excited, like not nervous, just so excited. Like, as you know, when I get nervous, my hands and my feet like pour sweat. And I had heels on, which I haven't worn in forever. And I thought, oh my gosh. And so I was perfectly fine. And then as like it slowly approached, there goes the sweat. I'm getting nervous. And I wasn't nervous about walking across the stage. What I was nervous is, am I going to fall climbing, walking up the steps to get on the stage? And I'm like, okay, Michelle, like I was literally talking to myself, like, let's break it down. What are you really nervous, right? And then there was a gentleman that you handed like the card to so he could say your name. I'm like, I'm just going to ask him to hold my hand. Right
Exactly.
when they got there, he's like, "Ma'am, would you like help?" I'm like, "Yes." He didn't even finish his statement. Yes, I want help getting up. And I was like, "Look, all my nerves went away." I was like, but I was so focused on, I probably would have manifest myself falling because I was so thinking about it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I was even telling myself, "You're confident. You can get up the steps. You've been walking in heels this whole time. It's not a big deal." But it's funny how it just takes over, right?
I love you.
Everything.
You and I just heard a very different thing. So you said I would have manifested falling, and I heard you being this amazing problem solver.
Oh,
Like, okay, I'm feeling this way. I'm doing this thing. Oh, I'm going to ask the guy. Like, you immediately solved the problem.
yeah.
That was like you showed up for yourself and didn't even realize it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
You
So
see, this is
let's
why I
just
need Mindy because she totally
that
sitting here coming from the negative, and she brings out, no, no, you actually kicked ass in that situation, right? That's so great.
perspective. It's a reframe. We said that we were listening to the same story, right?
Yes.
Like, what I also love that you said that we're just going to rabbit trail for just a sec if we can. So you said I could have manifested falling. So here's how our brain works. It deletes, distorts, and generalizes, as you know, right, based on our beliefs. There's got to be a filtering system in there. And we have a RAS, a reticular activating system, that also, at its very basic definition, brings us what we anticipate and expect. It's another filter for us. So, would you be manifesting a fall, or would that be all that you could see because your brain was
Yes.
deleting, distorting, and generalizing based on the belief that you were going to fall? It works in the same way as, with abundance and scarcity, right? When we allow ourselves to see more possibility, we see more possibility.
Right. Right.
Like, there's so many more roads open
Yes.
that way.
Oh my gosh. It's funny that you say that because when I was actually waiting to go, when I looked at the steps, they looked like not a normal step. They look so narrow. And I thought, oh, great. Now they're even smaller step. But when I got there, they were like wider than a normal step. So I think I was so in my, even when I was seeing what, that's literally all I could see. I'm like, how did that lady just walk up the, so funny.
Those situations like that, right? They do
Yes.
raise our stress levels. They do. So we've all been in a situation where all of a sudden now, like you can hear, like you can hear your heartbeat in your ears, and you're like, oh my gosh, and because you're excited and nervous all at the same time. Yes,
I
beautiful,
love
and congratulations again on the
Thank you.
award.
Thank you. I was
You're
just
so
that
welcome.
led to it, Okay. So I know you talk about the identity gap. Can you briefly explain like what it is and how it like silently or secretly sabotages the success for us?
Yes, absolutely. So the identity gap is literally the gap between who we are being and who we want to be. Every identity is a role with a goal. We're always being someone. This is the definition of identity, our repeated way of beingness, how we show up in the world. And so, just for clarity for everyone, too, mindset is our relationship with something, or it's the thoughts that we think around who we're being, as opposed to who we're being. So, mindset and identity are different. Um, Identity is subconscious, so that's why we want to go deeper with the subconscious, and we can't get around doing mindset work around it,
Mhm.
right? Like they're kissing cousins in there. So the identity gap is the difference between who I'm being and thinking that I am and who I want to be and think that I am. And so we want to do whatever we can to shorten that gap. And the first way to shorten that gap is to be aware that there's a gap, that we don't have to be in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze all the time, that we don't have to be all amped up like that we don't have to overthink, that we don't have to hustle in order to get what we want. Like we've been conditioned to believe certain things, success looks a certain way.
Mhm.
And so then we set goals so many times based on other people's realities and not even our own, when we really get clear about it. So we become aware, right? And then we take ownership. Oh, I'm actually believing that in order to have a seven-figure business, right? I have to work 50 hours a week and give up all my free time and like, right? Like insert all the things here, when that's actually not true, and be a human that I don't want to be, like discount my core values. We've decided that this is true because we've seen other people who have attained this, and we've noticed in them things that we don't want for ourselves. So then we just go, oh, well, I can't have that because that's the only way to get it. We've deleted, distorted, and generalized based on that. So first is the awareness, and we go, oh, and that's where I come in a lot of times. As you know, one of my superpowers is just hearing your limiting beliefs and what you're saying, right? And so when you have someone that's reflecting back to you, oh, so I'm hearing you say the only way to this goal is this one path, says who?
Right.
Right? Like it's that. So first we're aware, then we ownership. Oh, I have been showing up in this identity because it's served me. It's been a self-protection. It has gotten me to where I am. It's not going to serve me to go any farther though. So there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's none of that. It's a recognition and ownership. And then, as you know, three of my favorite phrases, it's from now on, in the future, next time. Who do I get to show up as? How is she going to move, talk, feel, think, all those things? And then we get into alignment with her. We map her out so clearly, her 24 karat identity, right? We map her out. We know what she's reading and what time she's going to bed and how much water she's drinking. And we just know her so intimately that we can cast votes towards her consistently and shorten that identity gap.
I love that. And I want to just kind of roll, so many things came to mind as you're talking. I think I'm experiencing my own journey on with you. And a couple of things that came to mind, and I don't know if this is true for everyone else or anybody else experiences this like me, where you admire someone, whether that be your coach or somebody else your coach from afar, right? A mentor from afar, where you're like, oh, they have these habits or they do these things. And then you're like, well, in order for me to have the success that that person has or this woman has, then I too need to do X, Y, and Z. And that is not always the case, right? Because that's true for them. To your point, it's not
Exactly.
necessarily true for you. You can, I look at it more like, okay, what are the non negotiables that they're doing to help their business and what could mine be, right? It's like that old thing. It's like
Yes.
find a model, mimic, and then make it your own kind of thing. It's like who, like recognize what patterns do they have and how can you insert some of your own habits, patterns in your life. Do you agree with that?
Exactly.
I mean,
I do. I because what we make a choice, we experience the choice, then we make another choice,
mhm,
right? The experience of the choice will allow us to
mhm,
know, are we showing up the way we want to show up? How does it feel? Is it stretching me, or is it like is it a 10 against my core values? Like we get to tune into that, which is again awareness, ownership, alignment. Those are just like the first three cues in the subconscious success blueprint. And so what you said about being inspired by someone, this is where when we create a 24 karat outcome, as you're creating your 24 karat identity, one of the things that we talk about is I achieved this because,
mhm.
and we tap into our internal resources. And one of the internal resources is definitely being inspired by someone else, like knowing the difference between comparison and inspiration, and then also, like you said, seeing, okay, well, that's their path that they chose. I could try it on. It's vital for us, especially as women entrepreneurs, right? Female entrepreneurs, to also know that there are many roads to success, right? Like there's not just one path to get there, because what someone else is how someone else is showing up, you're only right, you're only seeing the front facing camera,
Right,
right? You're only seeing the highlight reel, they say. You're only seeing what they want you
right.
to see, and only you know what's happening in your background, and then you get to create capacity around that and
Mm,
how that gets to look for
mhm.
yourself as well.
Yeah, it's so true. And that goes for everything, right? Because I think like in my world where even when I sit at conferences, I know that I'm not the only one with these thoughts because everyone else is there. It's like we have to be in the $1 million club, right? Because that's like the marker for success. And then I remember this when I was an account executive for Bank of America and their wholesale lending department. And all the sales team, we would all be competing every month, like who closed the most or whatever. And I remember one girl, like she was really good, and yet she didn't care if she was the winner. And I at that time I was younger, and these other ladies were older, and I would say to her like what, like basically, why aren't you going to get more money? She's like, Michelle, how much money do I need to live off of? I mean, she was making decent amount of money, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and that's, I think, the first time where I realized that money is not the motivator for everyone, right? So it's like
Mm.
she made enough and she was consistent to achieve what she wanted for her life, her family, to your point of, okay, I don't want to be on call all night or on the weekends or whatever. I want to work like what we're supposed to be working and still make a nice living for my family. And I remember being like, because, well, you were in the corporate world, it's like that whole sales thing. It's like you're only as good as your last number, and everybody's super competitive. And I was like, I don't know if I like this because I just want to do a good job. And you know what I mean? It was like I had all these other factors weighing in on me. So I thought her perspective was interesting, which is why I like being in this space, is because you can make it be whatever you want it to be. And just because you don't have $1 million in revenue doesn't mean that you're failing or that you're not good enough or you haven't made it yet. You're literally kicking butt because you're making good money as long as you're profitable, right? That's what we're looking at.
So there, you just hit the nail on the head with the profitable, because again, we're seeing. in the online space, we're seeing what people want us to see. And there very well could have been $1 million launch, $1 million in revenue. What's the profit? And also, what's the cost? What's the cost to the human behind the scenes? Because I would much rather have a 50, 60, 70% profit margin with a much lower revenue, right, than $1 million in revenue and a tiny little profit margin. Not to mention the time freedom, right? Like location freedom, all those other things
For sure.
as well.
And I do get caught up in that because I am like a scaling master, right? Or a growth. Like I'm always looking like,
Yeah,
how can we get better and how can we get better? And if you carry that same kind of thought process, like you don't want to be in the same place, well, there's other areas in your business where you can still grow and scale, whether that be with automations or would that maybe be with your team or getting your clients, more of your clients, the transformation or the results, right? There's other places
exactly.
that you can look to grow and make an impact without just being solely focused on how do you just burn because you end up burning yourself out. Right.
Exactly. Which is why so many, I would say the top 3 reasons that people come to me, they're burnout and they're afraid of burning out again, right? They've like recreated their business, they're moving in a new direction, they've pivoted or whatever, and they're afraid of burning out. The second reason they come to me is everything that's happening here. The
Mhm.
inner critic is, it's not a constant. It's not every single thing that they do. It's loud enough that it's pissing them off.
Mm,
Like, enough already. I know what I'm doing. I've built a business. I've made money. I know how to make money. I'm running a business right now. Why can't I turn down this volume? What is happening that I am having these thoughts? And the third is, I know what to do. Why am I not doing it? Right? Yeah. Yeah.
not having a
And
healthy
I
base at
really,
all. I think you just repeated our session from this morning.
I this is this is common in high achieving women.
Mhm.
We are conditioned, like you said, you're only as good as your last number. You're only as good as like that. When you said that, everything in me just went like, oh, I remember those days. I was in sales, and unraveling, like shedding that belief, that is the good hard work,
Mhm.
right? We are not at all, our value, our worth is not tied to how much money we make, like
Exactly.
ever. Like, and we get so tangled up in that. And
Mhm.
I'm a little on a soapbox now. As women, we have so many other things competing for us,
Mm.
different than our male counterparts,
Yeah.
right? First of all, they don't even call them male entrepreneurs or men entrepreneurs, right? They're just entrepreneurs. And like they don't carry the mental load. They don't have what we have. And so we have all these things competing all the time about who we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to show up.
Mhm.
And so the conditioning just gets heavier and heavier and heavier on us. And that's why I really, one of the main reasons why I do what I do, because all women deserve a champion. They all deserve to have that exhale feeling, that showing up as their true authentic selves.
So, so good. So, with what we were just talking about, how could we tell if we're operating from outside, like, or not outside, like an outdated identity, right?
Yeah, perfect languaging. Yeah, it's an identity that no longer serves us.
Exactly.
How does it feel?
Yeah.
What are the things that you're saying to yourself? Like, this is different. What are the thoughts that are coming up around the way that you're showing up? What's the first thing that you think of when you open your eyes in the morning, when you're getting out of bed? Like, these, this level of awareness, right? Am I constantly saying to myself, like, I know what to do. Why am I not doing it? Okay, you're in an outdated identity, and again, it's not shame. It's not like there's not even a fault or a blame to lay. That got you here, right? Like there's a new level to evolve to. You are enough, you get to evolve. And that new level that you evolve to is that new level of identity, the one that doesn't tie her worth to this, or doesn't need, here's another reason. women come to me doesn't need that external validation all the time, right? That the number, either the sales numbers or the follower numbers or the, right, those numbers.
Mm,
Because those vanity metrics, I work with a lot of women. Those vanity metrics don't mean anything.
right.
I know plenty of women making tons of money. And if you looked at their social media, it would be average. You'd be like, oh, that's a cute little Instagram account. Yeah. Yeah. That's a cute little Instagram account behind, a multi 7-figure business kind of thing.
Exactly. It's funny that you
Hmm.
say that because I used to judge people off that. Well, do I want to work with them? Because they only have 1,800 followers, right? They must not be that good, right? And then until I sat in a conference and somebody was on stage. And so I was like, oh, let me find them one. I was like, wait, they only have 1,600? I was like, but then they're on the stage and they're talking about this, or people are talking about how. So interesting that you say that, because yes, I used to be judgy for that. Yeah. So funny. So I want to definitely ask you this because this is super important. Um, how do you guide clients to start with who they're being before what they are doing?
Yeah. This is where we create the safety as well, right? The subconscious safety. Um, Forget the how for now. I just had a call with another client today about this. Forget the how for now. I want this. I want this number, this revenue number is what she said,
Wow.
I want to do $30,000 a month consistently in sales, she said. And um I said, tell me the first thing that came to mind when you said that. Like as soon as you said that, she goes, how? I said, forget the how for now. Actually, my words were F the how for now.
Right.
Um, and I said, before you figure out the how, you get to figure out the who so that you can shorten that identity gap. Here we are right back around. How will she be thinking, talking, moving, sleeping? What is she doing? What are her habits? And this particular client was like drinking, like took a drink of something. I said, does she drink whatever that is? And she looks at it, she goes, no. I said, there you go. Okay. But by not drinking that, you just shortened that identity gap, right? And while that may sound silly, as you know, the micro shifts allow the safety, the subconscious identity to stretch, that safe feeling to grow, where your brain is then like, oh, well, it's just a little tiny thing. Like we could do this.
Right.
Like, we can make this shift. It's safe to do this shift. And then we keep flexing that subconscious identity muscle, as I call it. And the next thing you know, right, you're doing tons of reps with really heavy weights and you're walking and talking and you're do having that $30,000 a month consistently. In order to get there, though, you have to know where you're going. And so, how will you know when you're being her? And that's why I, as you know, invite you to craft her out. What is your 24 karat identity? Think about her so that those casting those little votes, making those micro shifts comes with more ease and more ease and more ease. So first we figure out the who, then we figure out the how.
Yeah. And I love that because I honestly complicate everything because like I always think, oh, this has to be so much harder to do. And really, when you really think about it, it's so simple. It is so.
Those are protections.
Yeah.
Complicating things are when we overcomplicate, when we overthink, when we do those things, right? That's an old habit popping up to say, are you sure? Because if we do this thing, right, we're going to be in unfamiliar territory. So we can call it unfamiliar, we can call it uncomfortable, we could call it unknown, we call it whatever you want, whatever word hits best for you. This is who we get to make peace with. We get to make peace with being unfamiliar, uncomfortable, unknown while we create what we want. Because that's just a protection to keep us in the known.
Yeah.
Like all of those things are designed to keep us in the known, and it's actually automated. And so then when that happens, as you know, we take out the pink elephant habit mantra, right? Oh, I see you habit of overcomplicating things to protect me. Like we broke up. I got it, right? I got it from here. I moved my attention to, and then in that case, we would be moving our attention to a time that you showed up and you didn't allow things to be overcomplicated. You just said, oh, this thing, and you did it. And that was that.
Right.
And then your brain's like, oh yeah, we do know how to do it without overcomplicating it. We're really just consistently creating those new neural pathways.
I love it. Okay, so you talked about all this. So, what is one small daily shift, or 1% tweak that someone can take on a daily basis to start closing that identity gap?
Yes. So I love that you clarified closing the gap. The first thing you get to do is know who that next level version of you is, right? That deconditioned version. So that's the first step. And I'm going to invite you to like have a lot of fun with that. Like what fragrance is she wearing? And all those types of things. Like get really granular with her so that casting the votes is really simple. Cause you could do, she writes with X pens. Like, okay, I can get the X pens right now, right? I can already start embodying her right now. So after that step, then I would invite you to do an awareness check with yourself, like 3 times a day. Just check in. Who am I being right now? Am I being past me? Or am I being the version of me, my 24 karat self? No shame, no guilt, no judgment, just awareness and curiosity. Like, oh, that's interesting. I am being her, like, or I'm not. Oh, okay. Well, what what could I do to be her? What's 1% shift that I could make right now to be her? So I would really start with awareness, an awareness check-in for yourself after you've crafted out that really fun version of yourself, that next level version of yourself.
I do like that, especially the check in, the 3 times a day, even if you have to set a little alarm for yourself to remind yourself to check
Absolutely.
in. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm just going to bring it back. Right. Let me get
Like
back.
from now on in the future next time, right?
Yeah.
So you check in and you're like, wow, I was like doing all my automated habitual things. Because guess what, my friends, you are in the habit of being you.
Hmm.
And so it's going to take practice to get into a new habit of showing up differently and
Exactly.
beating yourself up. That's not going to change anything. As a matter of
Exactly.
fact, that's going to keep you stuck in
Hmm.
there. So recognizing it and then saying from now on in the future, next time I'm going to think or say this, or from now on, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. So good. So good. Okay. I'm going to get into some rapid fire questions. Okay. Ready? If
Mhm.
you could coach your younger self for 5 minutes, what would you tell her? Or what would be the topic?
Yeah, your identity, your subconscious identity, like that you are extremely conditioned. You have been conditioned from what you witnessed as a child, like all the things that happened around you as a kid. You get to shift this. Like this is not your lot in life, right? You
Right.
get to shift this.
You don't have to
Yeah.
settle for it. And actually, like what I started to say at the beginning is that I've actually become more empathetic to other people.
Mhm.
What used to like
Mm.
totally annoy me about another person,
Mhm.
or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe they have been conditioned to react this way or to speak to people this way or whatever the situation might be. And I, number one, don't take it as personal. And number two, I'm just like, okay, that's a them. Right. And then that will allow it to just
Yes.
be.
I would definitely remind her of identity at the subconscious level, that she gets to be whoever she wants to
Yeah.
be. When I think about younger me, I knew that without knowing it. And I would actually give her the reminders.
I love it. Okay. What's your favorite way to celebrate a win?
Oh my gosh. I love a good treat. So I love a good non-dairy vegan treat. I love a coffee, a coffee. Go for a walk, like sometimes a massage. I have a plethora of ways of celebrating a win.
I love it. What's your guilty pleasure?
social media, TikTok. It like scrolling TikTok, like for sure scrolling TikTok. Yes.
Okay.
And laughing,
La-
like laughing on TikTok, just seeing the most ridiculous stuff and laughing, right? I love to laugh.
Those dances are, and those things are, even though you get sucked into it sometimes, I think you need it sometimes a break like that just to enjoy. You know what I mean? Just I saw this
I
post
100%.
I saw this post where this lady was like, I told my son if he would be my backup dancer, whatever, and the son's in the back and she's lip syncing. So I texted my son, I'm like, would you do this? He goes, well, I can't dance like that kid, but I will try. You're gonna be my I got all excited about it.
Yes.
But it's just
Yes.
fun, and it's fun to
Yes.
see like people having fun, you know? Makes me happy.
Exactly. Joy. People
Yeah.
experiencing joy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, finish this sentence. Success feels like.
A really big exhale, like I just did. Like,
Yes. Love it. This was so much fun, Mindy. I appreciate you so much for coming on the show today.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait for this episode to drop. I would love to have people take the CEO identity quiz so that they can recognize right away, like, oh, that's a pattern that's playing in the background. That's a pattern that's actually driving who I'm being and showing up in my business. And so I know we'll leave it in the show notes.
Yeah.
And definitely come find me on Instagram and say hello.
Yes. And maybe even on TikTok, watching you do a little thing, shaking the booty. I love it. So, so good. And definitely go check out Mindy. I will drop everything in the show notes. And I think that you even, I mean, I'm totally plugging you right now. I think you even offer a call if they want to work with you to see if you're a good fit for each other. So we'll drop that in the show notes. Do you want to talk about it really quick?
That, yeah, I would love to. That's actually it's a free call. It's a 15-minute identity alignment call. And what I will do is tell you what pattern is running in the background. So you'll get insight into the pattern. We'll talk about what you can do to shift out of that. And if it feels like a good fit, then we could talk about what it would be, what it could look like to work together. The call is zero obligation. It's not a sales call. It is you coming on, me saying, here's the pattern I'm seeing, here's what I'm hearing, and here's what you could do to shift out of that.
Yeah. And, you know,
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I didn't even plan on plugging you, but I'm like, I will say that working with you, how long have we been working together? Two plus years, I think.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I think
it's
we're
been a
going on
while.
3.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
And every time, like even my husband will recognize, like, wow, like I've noticed this in you, or I've noticed this change in you. I notice you don't freak out as much when this happens or when that happens. And I'm like, thank you, Mindy. He's probably even like, thank you, Mindy. Yeah. So it's literally life changing. So whether Mindy's your girl or you find someone else that you connect with better, that's the whole point of this call, to see how you all would work together. It's just literally life changing when you're talking about that nerve, regulation or whatever, getting that aligned. It does take a while because you're so, you grew up in it. However, what a difference. You can just be at peace. Like my whole thing was just, I want to be at peace every day. Everything, once you get this like in line or handled or managed, then it's like everything else shifts for you, not only in your business, but in your relationships with yourself, right? All the things just totally improves. So thank you very much, Mindy.
Thank you. Thank
Love
you.
it. All right. Well, there you have it. Closing the identity gap, the real secret to the 1% success. Again, definitely go check out Mindy. I'll drop all the things in the show notes. I hope you loved today's episode and keep leaning into those tiny tweaks and stacking those 1% wins, because that's how you optimize to monetize. Until next time, let's grow your business together.